into the Press Row Show, the #1 rated pregame, intermission, postgame show this side of the Mississippi, south of the Arctic Circle, and north of the equator. I'm Russ Joy, Anthony SanFilippo, Jackie Spiegel, intern Andrew on the ones and twos. By the way, intern Andrew, that camera's off by about a centimeter. Can you drop what you're doing and go fix it, please? Because that's definitely affecting the show. Okay, and look, we love intern Andrew. We love him. We love him. His Trump impression's quite terrible, frankly, but we still love him. China. Okay, shut up. This is serious. Okay. Flyers and Blues tonight. Ant, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Ask me if I'm excited about tonight's game.
Russ, are you excited about tonight's game?
Oh, yes! I'm so excited. I'm dressed to the nines. I combed my mustache. I couldn't wait to get here. I was speeding down 95. It's the earliest I've showed up to the arena. I showed up no later than 6:22. It's great. I forgot my tubular meat, actually, but I forgot my tubular meat, but we got Flyers, Blues, and now, Ant, I will throw it over to you and Jackie for the next 30 minutes while I ignore everything you say and work on my computer.
Yeah, work on your computer, do your work, Russ, like you're used to, and maybe you could get intern Andrew to fix the camera.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good idea. Jackie Spiegel.
Anthony.
Good to see you.
Same.
Welcome. Jackie Spiegel
Thank
from the
you.
Philadelphia Inquirer is our pregame guest tonight. Flyers, Blues. And yeah, this is that intro was fantastic. Right? I mean, could Andrew have nailed that any better? So you don't know.
No, but you know what he missed though.
What did he miss?
Was making fun of me about not being from Philly.
Oh yeah, well
it's
it's
asking me if I knew how to spell things. Or
yeah, it's early
right.
yet.
Yeah, okay.
It's early
I
yet.
just wanna make sure we're clear.
He might get you yet.
Okay.
What you might not know about this salmon-colored jacket that he's got on is Russ showed up for a show a couple games ago wearing a pink jacket and a tie. And nobody knew why. Nobody had any idea why he dressed up that way. But intern Andrew decided to be Russ. Since Russ is not with us tonight, it's Halloween. He's got 4 young children. So Russ is trick-or-treating. We don't know if Russ is dressed up for the Halloween.
We talk about him right here.
I kind of hope he is. We need some pictures or something.
But intern Andrew is filling in brilliantly as Russ Joy. But let's talk a little bit of hockey. You can't hear?
No, I lost audio.
Well, you gotta figure out her headset there, fake Russ. I'll talk
Can
as
you
loud
hear
as
me?
I can. I hear you loud and clear.
I'll try and listen.
I'll talk as loud as I can. So Flyers coming off of a great performance against Boston.
Yes.
2-0. Defensively, they were sensational. Still struggling a little bit on the offensive side to get the offense going. But it seems like the goal has been, if we're not going to score a lot of goals, let's concentrate on the way we play in our own end and take away shots from the other team and see if we can't win lower scoring games. Does that seem like the approach that John Tortorella is taking right now?
That's a John Tortorella team. I mean, if you watch any of his teams previously, that's a John Tortorella team. Shut down on defense and hopefully get a couple all the other way. And he talks constantly about the transition game and shot blocking and playing like a team. And they weren't really doing that. Scott Long called it disconnected, and I think that's a great term because it just didn't seem like they were 5 guys who had ever played together before, which is funny because it's pretty much the same team from last year outside of, Matvei Michkov and at one point Jet Lachenko. So it was interesting to watch, but the guys who showed up on Tuesday in Boston, that's more of the team we also saw last year than what anybody has watched this year.
Absolutely. Defensively, they looked great against Boston. It was probably their best all-around game of the year. And I know it's weird to say that because they only scored 2 goals, right? So, but on the whole, I think it was the best team game that they played.
Right. I think Korpisalo played really well too. And
right.
And I had people text me like, "Oh, get ready for an 8-6 game kind of thing," because he hadn't been playing well either. But I don't know. I thought he actually played pretty well. He hadn't played in a while too, so he looked pretty good to me.
He did. But Sam Ersson with a nice bounce back, because I thought that his game against Minnesota, when they won 7-5, but I thought that was probably Ursa's roughest outing of the year, personally. Like,
it was just such a crazy game.
Yeah, it was a crazy game, but
Chuck Wagon, it was just like all over.
But the one thing about him that we liked early last year, obviously down the stretch he faltered a lot, but what I liked about him early last year is when he had a bad game, he was quick to forget it and bounce back. And I kind of thought that was the kind of game that he had. Yeah, you had help in front of him. Defense played well in front of him. But I really thought that the Flyers needed a good game out of their goalie and got it from Ursa.
Well, he's just always the guy that bounces back. He's like mentally, he is one of the toughest people in that room. Everything kind of what's the saying, like falls off his back. Like he just doesn't. The game's over and he moves on to the next
He's
one.
Teflon. Teflon.
Sure. It reminds me of John Gotti a little bit.
Well, the Teflon Don.
He's a Teflon. Are we calling Sam Emerson the Teflon Don? I don't know.
Maybe that's a good nickname. Maybe you should create that in the Inquirer. You should start calling him the Teflon.
I don't know. We'll see.
Teflon Don in goal.
I'll ask him what his thoughts are on that.
Yeah, there you go. He probably has no rep.
He does wear the nice suits.
There you go.
So
there you go.
John
right?
Gotti was known for his suits.
I wonder if he's aware of.
He probably has no idea who John.
No, yeah, I have no idea who he is. Right. All right. So it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, no. So he's played well, right? But then after that, it's you look at the way things have gone defensively. You take Igor Zamula out of the lineup. You add in Emil Andre, and he's a little feisty. He's got a little spunk to his game. But it suddenly seemed like, knowing that you're down Cam York and you had to make another change further down the lineup, the guys at the top, Travis Sanheim, Rasmus Ristolainen, they've been sensational. Since they've been put together, playing 25, 26, 27 minutes a night, almost like playoff minutes, that top pair for 3 games now has been really, really good.
Well, this is the Sanheim. So my 1-year anniversary was literally like the other day, like yesterday or the day before or whatever. And that's the Sanheim I remember seeing when I first got here last year, was the guy who's been playing these last couple of games, where not only is he getting it done on the defensive side, he's also, I mean, how many times have we seen him by the net now?
I know.
And Ristolainen's goal to win the game against Minnesota was literally, all of a sudden it's like, who's that guy that's jamming the puck? Oh, that's Rasmus Ristolainen coming down. So I think this is the best I've seen of Travis Sanheim. I think he knows he's playing really well right now. He's very confident. Even talking to him, you could tell it's a little different than when he got down the stretch last year.
Keep going.
So,
I don't want to get them in trouble.
No, you're good. So I think, like, you know, this is a guy who can get things done, and I think it's been important.
And intern Russ, can you let Jim, our security guy, know that they're giving a couple of our fans a little bit of an issue for being up here? Who is? This other security guy. To make sure that Jim knows who they are. They're fans of the show, so that they don't get kicked out. Thank you very much. This guy got to look out for. We got to look out for our people.
Of course.
Always got to look out for our people. But the thing about it is that I always feel like watching Sanheim play, that when he is paired with a defenseman who's more of a stay-at-home guy, he's so much better. Whereas when he's paired with a guy who's a little bit of a tweener, or maybe even an offensive-minded player, he's not sure.
No, you know
what I'm saying?
He actually said it. I don't remember what day it was, but it was recently in the locker room. I think it was after a morning skate or a practice. He actually said that because he has, like, he doesn't have to be the defensive guy on this pairing now. He could be the guy that steps up, because he knows that he has Ristolainen, who's more of a defensive defenseman, to stay back. So it's giving him a little bit more free reign to be that guy. So I think maybe this is where his game is. Maybe he really is that comfort level where he should be more the offensive guy on a pairing and not the defensive defenseman in complement to a Cam York or anybody who's more of an offensive-minded guy.
Now, Ristolainen is an interesting guy to me because he has been he's been criticized quite a bit in this town, primarily because of the contract that he has. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that's the reason that most fans will criticize him.
Right.
But at the same time, their criticisms have been warranted because over the last 2 seasons, you've only been here since last year, and you only got to see him a little bit because he was hurt and out for the year. But his play has been spotty. And so you could understand the criticism that fans would have. I think it's very fair to say that he's been a big reason for why the Flyers have been able to kind of turn the page just a little bit off on their slow start because of the way that he's played in those big minutes.
Well, he's a veteran guy.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like, I was talking to him in Vancouver, asking a couple guys, like, do you remember your first game and what was the emotion like or whatever? And when you think about it, he's one of the most veteran guys in the team, and he's only like 29, 30. Like, he's been around the block.
Yeah.
He knows how it goes. He was in Buffalo for a long time, and they had their struggles, and he's been on teams that have struggled, especially out of the gate. So he's been around this environment before, and I think when you have someone who's been around it, like an Eric Johnson, right? He's been, he's about to play in his 1,000th game next week potentially, depending on the lineups. And when you have guys who've been through it, they can tell you, hold on, let's settle down. Things. This is bad, but there's still like 70-something games still to go. 72. So
there's still a long way. We'll wait and see. You got a lot of time to see, right? One of the other things that I wanted to kind of get into a little bit here today is when you look at the thing that what's failing or not failing, what's not clicking offensively. Torts has talked about like how he's going to still do his lines based on feel. He's keeping the lines together tonight that he had the last game, which this might be the first time they've gone two games in a row.
I checked it all today.
Right, it's the first time, right? They've gone 2 games in a row with that.
Every line is the same.
That's consistent, right?
Yeah.
And he's not. I think you guys asked him at the skate this morning about, when are you going to get Zamula back in on the blue line? Whatever the case might be. Do you think that this is a team that just needs a little bit of cohesion as far as what those lines are concerned to get that offense going? Or is he right to sit there and constantly try and push different buttons to try and get guys going?
I mean, he's with whatever he wants, he's right, if that makes sense. Like, he's the guy in charge. Yeah. So it's his decision about everything. As someone who's done some coaching, I probably wouldn't tweak lines as much in game as he does. I kind of get the whole for example, Joel Farabee's playing well, let's move him up to play with Owen Tippett and Morgan Frost. If, let's say, Tyson's not having a good game, I kind of get it, but I feel like it's not giving them even an opportunity to get out of it, because then you're dropping someone like a Tyson. And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but maybe down to a fourth line or something.
Right.
You're not giving guys the opportunity to work through it. Now, if you're in the third period and you're down and you need a goal and there's only 10 minutes, all bets are off and do whatever you want. But I think there is something to be said for playing a lot with people that you play with. I talked this morning with Ryan Poehling, with Garnet Hathaway, with Morgan Frost about playing with the same guys and how it helps.
Right.
And, like Ryan Poehling and Garnet Hathaway, I spoke to them separately, and they both were like, I know where the other is going to be on the ice because I played with them so much last year. And I play with them a little bit this year. But I know where they're going to be. I think it was Garnett who said that, it's not a sixth sense kind of thing. But when you've played with people long enough, you just know where they're going to be. You develop this ability to know if I put the puck deep or I dump it in,
instinctual.
This guy's going to go.
Yeah. It's very instinctual.
Yeah, it really does. It develops a lot of chemistry, and that's important.
Yeah. And the other thing that I guess you guys are asking these guys every day, and you're talking to these guys every day. Do you sense that there's any kind of feeling from them that they would prefer to have a little bit more cohesion? Or are they just saying the good, No,
there was, a couple of games ago, I remember one or two guys saying, I can't remember who, and I don't want to say
right. Sure, no, fair enough.
But there's a little bit of we're disconnected and we're not playing well together, and we have to find chemistry. I think Michkov and Konechny, there's no denying that they have chemistry, and I think took a little time to figure out that maybe Sean Couturier was the center on that line.
Yeah.
I know he wanted to put Morgan with Michkov because they are both creative people, but obviously maybe having the balance of a Sean Couturier and not having 3 super creative, smaller people, guys on a line has helped. It does take time. I don't know if you remember, but it was during one of the pressers after the season ended and training camp, where the question was raised to Danny Briere about lines, and he goes, "We had one of the ugliest lines." I think it was like him and maybe Hartnell and somebody else. I think
Billy Leno.
Yeah, and he said on paper it was the ugliest line, but for whatever reason it worked.
Yeah.
So
yes, and he's 100% right, because I can remember when they put that line together, and I was on the beat at that time every day. And I remember them Laviolette putting that line together going, this isn't going to work. There's no shot this is going to work. And then they were the best line in the playoffs for that team that went to the Stanley Cup final. They were sensational as a trio. So for whatever reason, it just you find that chemistry. And I want to talk about a little bit about Farabee because there was a couple games ago, 2-3 games ago, he was pretty much benched for the third period. And then, next game, I think he was down on the fourth line to start the game. But then he had a little sit down with Torts, and Torts said, "I got to be fair to him, give him an opportunity."
I was the one who asked a lot of those questions.
Right, you asked that, right? I was like, "All right, that's." I did some homework. I did some homework, Jack.
No, but I talked to Joel before that, and I said, where do you see your game? And he flat out said, and I don't know what the PC version, it stinks. Let's just say stinks, but it wasn't stinks. But he was very aware that he's not where he needs to be and where he feels that he should be. And that was my question to Torts is how do you give him that time and that space? And I don't know if you remember, but John said it had a lot to do with the lack of 5-on-5 play.
Right.
Joel, listen, this team has a too many man on the ice penalty. Joel just hops over the boards because he knows he's sitting in the box.
Right,
there's no arguing with him. He doesn't play penalty kill. The second unit doesn't get as much time as the first on the power play. So he's really he's a 5-on-5 guy for this team. And I haven't checked it since maybe the last game or two, but at one point the Flyers had the worst 5-on-5 minute, not worst, the fewest 5-on-5 minutes. They had the fewest shots or goals at 5-on-5.
Yes.
They just weren't.
They were, and I didn't check it most recently either, but it was just a couple games ago that they were being outscored. I think it was 19-7 at 5-on-5.
But to what I said to Tortorella is Joel just a victim of not getting 5-on-5? And he said, basically, but also, he is struggling, but he wants to give him the opportunity to work through it, and he wants to put him out there. And I think we saw. I don't know if he did the whole full monkey off the back when he scored the empty netter, but there was definitely a big fist pound right into the face of some Bruins fans in Boston.
Yes, so. I did see that. And I like to keep an eye on guys like that, in a game. I will sit there and tonight, I will watch a lot of Joel Farabee and just kind of see if it continues. Because I thought he had a decent game against Boston.
I think he's trying to find where he fits in the lineup a little bit too. And I kind of did ask him, in his, they give the whole. I could play with anybody. I'm comfortable playing anywhere in the lineup. And I do think he wants to be more of a middle six, even a top six guy.
Right.
But my thing with Joel is what's his role? And to me, I don't know if he's a full power forward, but he could throw the body. He can forecheck. He does have hands to score. He does have pretty good vision. I just think he needs to figure out where he fits in the lineup.
One more thing before we wrap this up and talk about tonight's game against St. Louis. But one more thing before we get to that. I know Urs is back in net again tonight, but there was some talk today about the goalie situation. And Torts flat out said that he's committed to Kolosov right now.
Yes.
Kind of a weird situation for Fedotov because now he knows he's clearly the number 3 guy, at least for the time being, but he's not playing.
Right.
And how long do you think that they can kind of go on this way with 3 guys? Because the way I look at it, and tell me if you think that I'm off base on this, but I look at it and say, all right, they're home tonight, and then they're home again Saturday, but then you go on a road trip, right? You don't want to bring 3 goalies on the road. You'd rather have. Yeah, but for one game it would be different. But you're going on a length of multiple city road trip.
My first road trip with the team, when I first started, was Arizona and LA and Anaheim, I think, right?
And they brought 3 goalies.
And Cal Pearson started the LA game.
Yeah, I remember.
But I can't remember. Felix Sandstrom. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
Felix Sandstrom, I think, might have been hurt too at the time, or he was coming back from injury, so he was still there too.
Kind of, right. But I'm saying on the active roster because you'd rather have the extra forward or the extra defenseman. It's got to be weird at practice, right? Because you're just not getting regular rotation and regular reps. I mean, what good is it to kind of keep the third guy up here? Wouldn't it be better off to try and slide him through waivers and get him down to the AHL if he clears, which I think he would, and get playing games?
I I don't see any issue with him being sent down. I don't know if that's what in the team's mind right now, to be honest with you. I saw today, like, Ivan stayed on late with Kim Dillabaugh and Zamula to work on, and I think Nick Delorier because of the scratches. So they stayed on very late to work on stuff. There's a part of me that also, I don't lay a lot of the blame on Ivan for his poor play. I mean, look, he came from the KHL. He played, 3 games last season?
Correct.
And he hadn't played in a month at that point when he first played against the Islanders. And the team was in a slump, and it was a lot more going on around him than just those games. And then this year, this is his real. I take it as more. This is his real first action in the NHL, and it's a very different game from the KHL. Some rinks do have the same configuration. A lot of rinks don't. But also, the KHL. If you ever watch KHL games, I haven't sat down and watched a full game, but I've watched enough clips and I've watched enough things where they don't really go to the net and crash the net like they don't. Here. And they really don't swarm the net where you're looking through like 4 or 5 guys on a screen, and I'm both from both teams. So it's very different style that you need to play. And so I don't know if he was fully
ready for it
because he did captain's practices and that's nice in training camp, but let's be realistic. It's very different when it's the opposition in front of you. And also different. I know a lot of goalies talk about like the socks and different socks and seeing through the different socks and not. Like you're doing training camp, you're seeing orange and
black
and the whole time. So now you got the blue color and the red color.
It's weird to say that. Like you would think that that's like not a thing, but for a goalie, it really is a thing. All right, the Blues come in here. This is not a great Blues team, but it's not a terrible Blues team. They're just kind of a mediocre team.
They have a lot of injuries.
They have a lot of injuries, although Binnington will be in net tonight for them. He's hot or cold. I mean, he's hit or miss, right?
No comment on.
Yeah. This is a real opportunity for the Flyers to kind of get something going.
I know.
Get something going.
I'm not happy about it either.
Yeah, Dan Hilford, he likes your Halloween costume there, Russell.
Whatever. You got to do what you got to do.
Are you still doing your job over there?
Yeah.
You're working hard? Okay, I'll get back to Jackie. Yeah, thanks. But this is an opportunity for the Flyers to really kind of get a little bit of momentum going, because you get Boston again on Saturday, and I thought that was funny. Was that you who asked that question today?
About momentum, and he didn't know what day of the week it was?
Yeah, he didn't know what day.
But to be honest with you, I've never related more to John Tortorella than when he said he didn't know what day of the week it was, because I honestly have no idea what day of the week it is anymore. And half the time I was like, the other day I was like, do I have to get on a flight today to go to Boston? I couldn't even remember. So yeah.
Yeah, but this is a real opportunity for them, and I think that they recognize that this is you got out of the basement. Yeah, maybe it's because the Penguins are playing really, really poor hockey right now, and you get one win and you're able to jump them in the standings. Okay, fine. But I think that they look at it and say, we can kind of get back towards 500 again. And this is that opportunity for us.
I mean, every game's important. And that's the thing also, yes, they had the 8-game losing streak last year, but if they had won one game earlier in the season, and it was a game, I brought it up multiple times in stories, like it was a game against Ottawa that they lost, they should have won, because it was not a very good Ottawa team last year. Maybe even 2 games against Ottawa. It was a game against Montreal earlier in the year that they should have won. I think it was a Columbus game that they should have won. Like, those are games that when they were a really good team last year and they were in the playoffs, technically in a playoff spot, that they should have won. Now, obviously this year has not started out as well as they would have liked and as anyone really maybe expected, but every game still matters, and you still got to get those points. And this is a team that you should be able to take advantage of. Because, yes, you're right. As I said, I don't Jordan Binnington, whatever, but he is hot and cold. And some days he's probably one of the best goalies in the league, and then other days he's really awful. So it's like, who are you going to get today? I don't know. But if they play the way that they know how to play, and you saw a lot of that. What day of the week was it? Tuesday. Like, if they keep playing like that and being those guys, then good things will happen. Because once they really solidify their defensive end, which we kind of saw, right? Emile Andre makes that great play, stretch pass up to Tyson, who then chips it over to Morgan. Morgan chips it back to him. Like, it just flows better.
Right.
And I think that's what they need. They need to get that jump. And I think also wins are contagious. Like, I grew up a big Mike Gartner fan, and he would be asked about goals.
Don't say that out loud.
No, he played for other teams, but he played for a lot of teams: Maple Leafs, Coyotes, Capitals,
although people don't like the
Minnesota,
Capitals either. Yes.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
So, but he always talked about goals they come in bunches. Wins are like that too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Russ, do you have any Philadelphia trivia for Jackie before she heads out of here?
Philadelphia.
Well, can I tell you? I think I had the most Philadelphia experience today.
What was that?
Sitting in traffic, and like.
Oh, as if they don't have traffic in New York.
Well, but I don't know my way around, and I was driving streets I never even seen before.
Wait a second, you've been here a year now.
I know.
You still don't know your way around?
I was on university. Something I don't even know. I tried to figure out a way. I was just hoping my MapQuest or Google Maps would figure it out.
MapQuest. She said MapQuest. Do you even know what MapQuest is? Is that your generation?
I did have it. Yeah, but
actually, you'll appreciate this. So in Seattle, they have a museum called Pop Culture Museum. So I got a Nirvana T-shirt. Obviously,
right.
As someone of a certain age,
it's our generation, right? It's
Kurt
good.
Cobain, rest in peace. You know? I go and I guess there wasn't a price, so I asked the woman, and she's like, "Oh, it's X amount." It wasn't that expensive, but X amount. And oh yeah, it's a very big seller among the youth.
Among the youth. What were you going to say about MapQuest there, Russ?
I had it at the end, like right when it was starting to become irrelevant, and then like GP, like the Garmin and the what was the
You
Jill?
actually had a Garmin.
Yeah, I did.
No, what was the Garmin and what was the other one?
Well, the Garmin
was a Jill, right?
Was it Jill?
I think that's what it was called. But now everyone has smartphones, so we just use.
Did you print out the directions?
I have it at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, by the time I started driving, I had a smartphone. So.
I used to.
TomTom. That's
it. The TomTom.
Yes.
Jay Grebby. Yeah, the TomTom. There you go.
You're a Giants fan, right?
Excuse me?
Giants fan? No.
Jets.
Damn. That I had a great troll trivia question. I was going to ask how many yards did Saquon Barkley run for against the Giants a couple weeks?
A lot, right? No, I'm
Saquon
actually
Barkley.
happy for him. I've actually decided that because I'm in Philadelphia and I'm a Jets fan and there's no real, although the Jets did win last year, but there's no real like connection, rivalry that, and because they all wear green.
That the Eagles are your NFC team.
Yes. I will be an Eagles fan now.
That's good.
We won't discuss other sports, but Eagles I'm totally fine with.
Are you ready to run Rodgers out of town yet or no?
I haven't decided.
You could
yet.
just say yes. It's fine.
I don't know. Like I can't figure him out. Like he should be so much better than he's playing, but I don't know if it's him or the whole team is a mess.
He's also 41 years old. I think
there's
team
nothing
around
wrong with
him
that
is
age,
actually good.
though. Not that I'm 41 either, but
yeah, but I don't think anyone's playing quarterback at 41.
No.
You have like
Tom Brady was.
But he's
I can't
different.
say
Do you have an ideal candidate to be the next head coach? You going Vrabel?
I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be absolutely hilarious if they try and hide Bill Belichick because of what happened.
Because of what happened the last time, it would be hysterical.
Don't give him a napkin, please.
No, yeah. But Vrabel would be a good fit there, I think.
I just think it's something. Like it's just something.
Are they going to win tonight?
Oh, they're playing tonight. I don't even know. See, I'm so.
They are a favorite.
Although they are playing tonight.
They're playing the Houston Texans tonight, and they're a favorite.
I mean, they should win.
I think Diggs and Nico Collins are both out, right?
Yeah, that's why the Jets are a favorite. But I still.
But have you met the Jets?
I can't pick.
Have you seen the Jets?
I can't pick the Jets. But
the Jets are not good.
That's it. But speaking of Jets that are good,
yes,
the hockey team.
Yes. Oh my God.
I thought you were going to say Luchenko.
No, well, that Jet's pretty exciting too, but we won't see him for a while.
I will say I will eat crow on that one. I was a little surprised by the pick on Jet Luchenko and wasn't sure. And wow.
Yeah. Solid player. Jonesy compared him to a young Rod Brindamore to me, and I was like, wow. That's impressive. If Jet Luchenko becomes Rod Brindamore,
you know what?
That's a stellar pick. If that's what he becomes,
there's potential for that in there. I think,
there
actually.
is potential.
Like now that you say that,
there is potential for it. So, but Jackie, very, very much appreciated for you hopping on Snow the Goalie. I know I didn't let you know until last minute.
Yes.
Even though last minute it's like an hour and a half beforehand, but
I was sitting in traffic. Yeah. I was actually supposed to be here to do a couple of interviews with the moms,
and you were late, and so you were able to say, "All right, screw it, I'll join Anthony on Snow the Goalie."
Well, I guess second choice.
Second choice. That's all right. I don't mind coming in second sometimes, but that's okay.
Second is the best, right?
Second's the first loser. Jackie Spiegel, check her out in the Philadelphia Inquirer. Thank you very much, Jackie. And we'll get you on again here down the road.
Yeah, you just text me right before.
I'll text you right before.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
Jackie Spiegel. So, Russ.
What's up? Can I just tell you, it actually didn't even dawn on me until I got back. But when you told me to go talk to that security guard, I had a legitimate, serious conversation with him wearing this, and I completely forgot I was wearing it.
Did he laugh at you?
No, he didn't, which actually made it more awkward. I wish he would have just been like, "What are you wearing?" And then the owner of the team just walked and just pointed at his upper lip. I was like, I'm not happy about it either. Bundy just walks by. I guess he'll be over. In a second.
Yeah, Bundy comes on when he wants to come on.
Do you want to know what you peek behind the curtains? Do you want to know what's funny, actually?
Yeah, what's that?
I had a Kevin Hayes joke prepared during that opening monologue, and then I was like, well, let me double check to make sure he's not like injured or something, because I'm not gonna make a joke about him if he's hurt.
He's not even on the Blues.
I completely forgot he's in Pittsburgh.
He's in Pittsburgh.
I was like, do you want to know what the joke was?
Go ahead, yeah.
I was going to say, because I remember I'm speaking as Russ, I was going to be like, breaking news, Ant. I wanted to be the first one to know this. Kevin Hayes will be joining me live tomorrow morning on the Russ Joy Show. He will be co-hosting with me in my basement. Joke's on you. We've been best friends the whole time.
Well, it would have still worked, even though he's, just because he's not on the Blues any longer. That doesn't, it would have still been a funny joke. Should have still gone with it. I like it.
Yeah, it wouldn't really play, though. Because
it would be better if he was on It's Just Wrestling.
That would be something. Is he a wrestling guy? Do you know?
I have no idea.
No, I don't know. No idea.
I have no idea if he's a wrestling fan, but I just thought that would be even funnier.
Do you think he's still mad at us?
I'm sure. I'm sure he's still mad at us.
He probably.
So Russ, you're supposed to give out the picks.
Yes.
Do you want to announce the picks for the Snow the Goalie gang for tonight's game between the Flyers and the Blues?
So Bundy had texted earlier. He said 5-2 Flyers.
5-2 Flyers, okay.
Intern Andrew said 4-3 Flyers.
4-3. Oh, it kept close game.
Yes. You want to give yours?
I say 4-2 Flyers.
4-2.
4-2 Flyers. I think the Flyers are a victorious team tonight. I think that they feel pretty good about themselves after the Boston game.
I do too.
And I think that it just carries over.
And the artist formerly known as Russ, noticeably crickets. So
he didn't tell us his pick?
No, he said that he was going to set up the tweet to go out automatically. Let's see if he put it out yet, or if he's just waiting.
I think he put it out.
Did he put it out?
I think he did. I thought I got an alert from the Snow the Goalie account with the picks.
Let's find out.
We can look it up. Let's see what he did. Maybe not.
Nope. No, he's listening right now. He's listening right now, and that's what he does.
This is what Russ does. This is what he does. Unbelievable. You think that he would. Here comes Bundy.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Our savior,
Russ. Would you put the tweet out so we know who you picked? Put up his mic. Turn up Bundy's mic. So, what do you think of this look for Halloween?
Oh, I love it.
He did a whole intro as Russ.
Way to go, Russ. Looking good, Rustache.
I'll tell you what, this is so annoying. I don't know how he does it in real life all the time.
I kind of have one too, but I have the other part with it. I didn't just have the... But you know what? Tomorrow I will be going full mustache for November.
Movember?
I'm going to go the old Movember. I'm going to do it for... Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So you should wear that the whole month.
All right, buddy. Well, we only have you for a minute here before the end of the pregame. We announced your prediction of 5-2 Flyers. Why do you like them tonight against the Blues?
Because they have to build on a win.
Yeah.
They just have to build on that win against Boston. I mean, that's been a house of horrors. I think 2011 was the last time they had a regulation win in Boston. And they did. I mean, it was
closer. The last time they had one in Boston was closer to the end of your career.
Yes,
than it is to today.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's been just and some nightmare losses too. I can remember because I've been broadcasting a lot of those games too when I was on the road. So the Flyers, if they're going to be a team that's going to be relevant in 30 days from now, come December 1st, they have to get some string of games together. They just have to.
And tonight's game, and I think that they have an opportunity to do that.
St. Louis lost 8-1. Automatically, someone might think, well, they lost 8-1. They're going to be way, way better tonight. I don't necessarily know that. But I am going to say the Flyers gave us enough last year, Anthony, in games that they were desperate early, that I think they have to put it together here tonight.
All right, well, they're doing the anthem. You got to put the thing up on the screen.
All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
I don't see it.
Oh, yes. We're back in the Press Row Show. First period is in the books. Despite being outshot by the Blues 7-6, Flyers lead 1-0. Just the second time at home this season the Flyers have scored the opening goal of the game, thanks to Garnet Hathaway's first. What did you guys think about that period?
Well, Russ, thanks for bringing us
Russ.
in. Yeah, appreciate it. I'm going to need some impersonations pretty soon out of you. It's first intermission. No, it's a decent period, Bundy. I mean, obviously you come out of it with a 1-0 lead. Playing okay in their own end. Urson looks okay. I mean, only had to make 7 saves. Wasn't a ton. Playing okay defensively. I just don't see a lot of. We talked about it pregame.
No offense.
No puck support. It's just
no offense. There's no offense.
Yeah, they can't get it going, man. They just can't get it going.
There's no sustainability. That's what it is. It's like one and done.
Yeah.
And then you see St. Louis. They're kind of more patient. Like other teams will try to grind it out in the zone and wait for a play, but no. Nonetheless, they got a fourth line goal in this game, which is huge. Paling with a good kind of pick up the puck at the blue line one end and coast to coast to the other. Made a nice pass over to Hathaway. And a right-handed shot. He ended up getting the same side one-timer on it. But it was an unbalanced period, like in terms of just the way it was. It was a feel-in a lot of ways. But Urson definitely the more busy of the two goaltenders, nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think that the concern that I have when you see that period like that, like you come off of the way you played against Boston and you're feeling good about it. And again, you have a 1-0 lead. I don't want to diminish the fact that they have a lead at this point, but you would have thought that maybe there would be like a building off of the last game, right? Like, okay, this is what we did well. Let's keep doing that and do something else, add to it. And it seems like they kind of stagnated a little bit.
They did.
Again, it's 20 minutes. It could get better. But it's 20 minutes. They just seem stagnant.
Yeah, and again, it's because there's no offensive flow. They get in, they get one chance. It's one and done. Like that one play they scored on, it was a rush chance. They scored on the rush. But they've not had that puck where they're cycling the puck and really wearing teams down. And that ultimately, through the course of the year, is how you win the majority of your hockey games. Like wearing other teams out, having better chances in the offensive zone. For them, it's very, very difficult right now to find that chemistry or to find some semblance of chemistry offensively. But that being said, they're doing a good job defensively, and you have to look at the score. It's 1-0 Flyers as a result of it.
And we didn't get a chance to talk about this with you pregame, but I did ask Jackie Spiegel about it a little bit. And, I guess when you're struggling as much as they are struggling offensively, the only way to find success is to build off of defensive posture.
Yeah.
And it seems like that for if nothing else, they're doing that with some success.
They are. I mean, so they're defending inside out. That's the way you have to do it. Like, I think Torts even said something the other night in that hockey game where he said this how if you want to win the league, that's how you're gonna have to play. You have to clamp down defensively. You're gonna have to be stingy. The trick to being a really, really great team is the one that plays great defensively and then can carry it offensively as well.
Right.
And that's the difference between teams that end up going deep in the playoffs right now and a team like the Flyers who are still trying to find their way in a lot of the sense. But it's been better defensively. They're defending inside out in the defensive zone. But offensively, they've just got to get more of a sense, Anthony, of cycling and trying to hem guys down, getting pucks to the net. That's one area they can do a better job of. Get pucks to the front of the net and create havoc. That's where you can wreak havoc on teams.
Now, speaking of defense, and I didn't see it, buddy. I don't think you saw it either, but it looks like from some of our comments that maybe Nick Seeler might have had an injury at some point in that period.
We don't listen to the broadcast. We just watch with our own eyes. So if Seeler did get hurt, we just didn't see him. If he missed shifts, let us know here on our comments, guys. We do appreciate that. That's why we are fan friendly, and you guys are very much a part of this as well.
Yeah, we didn't see it. So if it happened, we'll definitely be looking to see if he comes back out to start the second period. Obviously, if he doesn't, that's going to impact them because now you're down to 5 defensemen, and one of them's Emil Andre, who I wanted to talk about him a little bit, Bundy, because I thought that he had a really nice game against the Bruins, and he showed a little bit of feistiness, a little bit of spunk in that game too.
Mishkov?
No, Andre.
Oh, Emil Andre. Yes. I just read the Mishkov.
Yeah, and that's fine. And maybe he's finally ready. I mean, I know that when he's been up in the past, wasn't quite there. Like he was a smaller guy, get banged around a little bit. Teams were trying to be too physical with him. And it seems like he's gotten, he's toughened up a little bit in the sense that he's able to sustain the physicality. Again, it's a very small sample size, and who knows if over the course of time if this lasts. But it seems like in the couple of games that he's played, he's able to take that and go with it a little bit.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I think he's made some good plays. I think he's made some plays that you'd like to have back, especially in the first game. I haven't noticed him as much tonight, but when I don't notice you defensively, that's sometimes a good thing.
Right.
Yeah, so I always look at it. That doesn't mean that you're not doing a good job. That means that you're doing a silently very, very good job. Is he ready for the mantle? I don't know. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I would like Zamula to be that guy because he has the size.
Right.
I'll take the size all day. But if he's not able to put it together and the other guy can make some simple plays and moves the puck more efficiently, then that's what will happen.
Yeah, and one thing that I almost said Hitch. one thing that Tort said this morning was that he says we're not going to forget about Zamula. He's going to get back in. He said that he's just reluctant when a team's going well to look at this guy. Look at this guy. Right? The best. Isn't that great? Is that a great look or what? It's fantastic.
What's going on, Pat?
But
just friends of the show.
Yeah, but I completely lost my train of thought there for
talking about Zamula.
Yeah, but that he's going to get him back in, but he doesn't like to change the lineup.
Yeah,
and so it makes you sit there and you look at it and say, I get that, but if you have a young player like a Zamula, isn't it better? Isn't it better to put him in and then say Eric Johnson?
Isn't it great for coaches? They can build that in for themselves. Oh, I just don't change the lineup. I don't change the lineup.
I don't understand. Just because you won a game, I mean.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, listen, I think there was one guy that perhaps should be in the Chateau Bao. It would be Zamula.
Yeah, he had not played well.
Not have a good start to this year.
Did not have a good year.
So there's only a place for him to go.
All right, well.
See Tony Louis?
Yeah. Yeah, sing.
What are you talking about?
Very film noir. Your Hitch is very film noir.
Someone say cake?
See, I'm going to go get some cake, see? Maybe grab a blueberry bagel while I'm at it, see? It's intern Russ. It's time for the.
You want to speak, Russ?
It's time for the stat of the night.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you got?
You can't make me laugh. If I smile too much, the mustache actually pops off.
Is that a different mustache?
It is, yeah. I switched. I got a 6-pack from Walmart, so I'm gonna cycle through
got
a bunch of them.
6-pack of mustaches.
Oh yeah, bring those babies in. I can use one of those some night.
I mean, there's probably only be like one left. I gave one to the organist. He's wearing a Luigi hat.
Yes, Michael the organist is wearing a Luigi hat. And,
oh Jesus, you don't look like him. Holy jeez.
Is that fantastic? Look at the mustache.
If you put one on Pat right now, you can have Mario and Luigi.
That's fantastic.
I do have a couple left.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's great. Anyway, go ahead. Stat of the night.
All right, so still a long way to go. We still have 40 minutes left in this game. But if Sam Erston does somehow get a shutout in this game, that'll be back-to-back shutouts for him. Jesus. Almost got us canceled there. Back-to-back shutouts for the first time since Michael Neuver in the 2015-16 season.
Wow.
Really?
Only twice in Flyers history has a goalie gotten 3 back-to-back-to-back shutouts. This isn't the trivia question, but if you want to take a shot at it, you can.
3 in a row.
I'll give you the years if you want.
Go ahead.
The 11-12 season and then the 99-2000 season.
I know that.
Well, yeah. Checo. Was it Checo?
No.
Roman Checkmate. This is not the trivia, is it?
No.
No, this is the trivia's next period. Not Bush, not Checo in 99-2000.
Not Van Beesbrook, right?
It is Van Beesbrook.
Okay. Really?
Yes.
Do you remember that? Do you remember him going 3 straight games with a shutout?
I sure don't. I wonder who his defense were.
I know.
Must have been great.
Must have been a great defensive team in front of him. Must have been. And what was the other year? 11-12?
The 11-12 season.
Briz
Golov got 3 in a row that year.
Everybody has their day.
Was that before or after he got lost in the woods?
I don't remember.
No, that was a game they gave up 9 goals to Winnipeg. They lost 9-8. That's when he did. It was my video that I put out on YouTube that got all the viral
still living here?
stuff.
I do remember that game.
Here. we had people who suggest. I wrote a story for
I
for On
coached
Patterson.
with him.
I wrote a story for On Patterson about the fact that the Flyers don't have a Russian translator and that they should have one because you have 2 players on your team who are Russian, speak the language, who don't speak English, and it be beneficial, even if it's only temporary, right? So I write this story about it. You know what the number one response to the story was? They should hire Brizgalov to come in and be the translator. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that lunatic coming in and translating for guys?
No.
The stuff he used to say?
Why you have to be mad?
No,
You guys remember the All-Star game
No,
when
I
he
can't,
was going around interviewing people and he's like, "Okay, I'm here with the Wayne Simmons."
The Wayne Simmons. Did you have when you were doing when he was here? Were you still in radio at
Yeah,
that
I was
time?
doing radio.
You were doing radio. Okay, so you didn't really have to interact much with Briz.
Thank God, no.
He was.
I coached with him. Our sons were the same age.
Oh, that's right.
And I was the assistant coach, and he was the goalie coach that was there for his kid. I was there for everybody else, but
He was like, we knew when Briz had a bad game that it was going to be.
there was a lot of drama here. I remember the coffee mug.
Oh my God, that was my question too. I was like, right before the Winter Classic. He pulls us over. He's waving us over. We're inside the baseball locker room at Citizens Bank Park in the Phillies locker. And he waves us over, and he goes, "I got good news and bad news. What do you want first?" I said, "What's the bad news?" He goes, "I'm not playing." I said, "So what's the good news?" "We now have chance to win." And he's then talked about sitting there with his mug of coffee. He's going to be enjoying the coffee, watching the game on the end of the bench. And I can still remember seeing Jeff Reese, who was the goalie coach at the time, standing behind him, and he turned every shade of red and purple in the span of a minute, listening to the nonsense coming out of Brizgalov's mouth. That's how angry he was.
It was all about the
that whole
team.
Was the Pittsburgh series in 2012? Was he the one? Who was the one that had the bear in the woods comment? Was
Yeah,
that him?
that's him. Yeah,
It was him. Okay.
yeah.
I
don't know.
sometimes you just
I
can't
didn't know him
understand what
that
goes
well,
through
really.
people's brains.
I coached with him that year, and that's the most I ever got to know him at all.
Just and the funny thing is like, we talked during the pandemic when we did all those long interviews on Snow the Goalie, we had Chris Pronger do one of them with us, and Prongs said that because that was the year he got hurt, if you remember, he couldn't play because of his eye injury, and he said that he truly believed that if he was not hurt and was healthy, that team could have won a Stanley Cup even with Brizgalov, because he said that he knew how to control him from their time together in Anaheim. And he said that he would have been able to keep him in line so that it would be more about the team and less about him. But the fact that he wasn't there and he was hurt and not in the locker room all the time, there was nobody else that really had the leadership ability to kind of handle that. That was Richards was the captain at that point, right? I mean, Chemo was an assistant, but that was really it. He was kind of a quiet leader.
Yeah.
So there was no real voice in that
These
locker
guys
room.
don't want to deal with that either.
And they didn't want to deal with it. But Pronger would have. Like, he's the kind of guy who he doesn't mind stirring the pot in that locker room.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I was around that team. I never saw it that way, Anthony. But I believe Pronger. The problem is they had to get there again, right?
Yeah.
Like they got there in 20.
Well, you're talking about this is 2 years later. So
2 years later,
So
right.
they got there in 2010. 2011, they lose. It's the 11-12 season. Then they beat Pittsburgh in the first round, and then they lose to Jersey. This
Right.
is LA's first championship year.
Yes,
Richards
correct.
and Carter were on that team.
Yeah.
And I can still remember talking to Richie and even John Stevens afterwards that they were saying, because they believed that the Kings, that summer I was talking to Stevens, he said, we believed all along, even though we were the 8th seed, that we were the best team out west. He said, we thought all along the Flyers were going to be the team that came out of the East. He said, and he's like, we were kind of worried about that. We thought it was going to be LA, Philadelphia.
That would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting. And it ended up not being. The Devils end up, smoking the
That
Flyers in the
New
second
Jersey
round.
series was flabbergasting. I can't believe
They
it.
won the first game and then went to sleep for 4 games.
It's
That was
nuts.
it was
Flyers. That was the one where Briz fired it off the guy's shin pads.
Yes.
The David Clarkson
Yes.
went right in the net.
Yes. That went south quick because there was a lot. They won that series against Pittsburgh. Drew has the shift. He hits Crosby and scores the goal, and that wild first round with all the goals. Couturier had a hat trick. It was his rookie year.
I think both of the first 2 games in Pittsburgh, they were down by 3 goals.
Yeah, it was insane. That series was insane, and they win that, and you're thinking, this team's got something. There's a spark here. They win the first game in overtime against the Devils, and you're like, all right, this team's got it going. And then it was just like that. In the snap of the fingers, they stopped playing hockey.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It just went away.
It went away that fast.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
All right,
It
so
was crazy.
the second period historically for the Flyers this season has been a house of horrors.
Yes, it has.
Do you think they turned it around in this period?
You had some good data on that a couple games ago.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
So currently,
Well, they didn't score. No, neither team scored in the second period.
okay, so they're still.
Oh no, they
minus
did
13.
score one. The Flyers scored one in the second
All
period.
right, so
last game.
minus 12 now.
So they're
in the
minus
second period.
12 in the second period this year, Bundy.
That's been a sore spot.
Yeah.
Good decent third periods when you think about it, you know. But they've been behind in games. They've had to give up some bad goals. Seattle's one of the games that comes to mind. Calgary comes to mind when they got behind real late in the second period against those teams. Again, just be consistent again. I thought they were against Boston. Build on it. It's okay to win another 1-0 hockey game. If you have to, that's what you do. Let them play from inside out. Keep defending hard. More sustained pressure with the puck if you can in the offensive zone. But in terms of the way they're going, be a little bit more competitive defensively, but keep defending with that same passion that they have.
Agree. Well, we'll see if they can. We'll see what the next 20 minutes looks like. And we'll be back with you during second intermission. So don't disappear. Just hang in with us.
I will have the stats up on time this time.
Yeah. Intern Russ will have the stats up online this time.
I was flopping around last time.
Yeah, we had some technical issues, but right before the start of the show. So
actually weren't my fault this time.
Not your fault. Not your fault.
Stunning turn of events.
Yes, but anyway, it was we got that all squared away. So the stats will be up, and we will see you at the third period.
What?
How's that? How's the
Hot dog, Russ.
how's the hot dog there, Russ?
It's fine. What?
Is that your third one tonight?
No, 8.
Oh, 8.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your 8th hot dog tonight.
Yeah, we're not on yet, right?
No, we're live.
Oh, we did go live. Oh, geez. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I was very invested in that hot dog eating.
You sure were.
Welcome back.
You were caressing it before we went on camera.
I told you that in confidence. Welcome back into the Press Row Show. Flyers stalemate in that period, though they actually did outshoot St. Louis. Sam Ersson, I thought, held strong, gave up a couple of scary rebounds, but he held his own, and it remains a 1-0 game.
Tape it down.
What am I doing here? Bundy, I'll throw it to you. What'd you think about the Flyers in the second period?
I thought St. Louis was pretty decent the first 10 or 12 minutes, and then I thought the Flyers were a little bit better at the end of it. Some power plays kind of disjointed the period a little bit, but, I mean, not bad. The game itself, this is not one that you're going to put on your shelf and watch once a week for the rest of your life.
Bundy, I'll be the one to say it.
Go
right?
ahead.
I'll be the one to say it. This is two not good hockey teams playing each other. This Blues team is no good.
There's not a lot going on over here.
There's just not.
We've played 2 periods. The game started at 8:07. There's hardly any stops at all.
It was just, it's
which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get through it faster, but look, there's maybe half the building is full tonight. I got to assume that's because it's Halloween and, a lot of people decided to go trick-or-treating with their kids and stuff rather than come down to a hockey game.
Yeah.
It's got to be the reason that the building's only half full tonight. Got to be the reason. Flyers. But there's just no energy in this place. These two teams are just kind of going through the motions a bit. It's ugly out there.
It's not a good hockey game. That's why I started joking, saying it's not one you're going to save the video of it and put it on your shelf to watch once a week for the rest of your life. It's not that. It's not 87 Finals Game 7. But again, these are the games, though. You know what, Anthony? There's a lot of games like this in the NHL every single night. Yeah. And what happens is that if you win it, you still get the 2 points. So the Flyers right now have the lead, the ever-important lead going into the third period. But what the problem is, it's been a dud for both teams.
Yeah.
And it's like whoever gets a heavy push might be able to put something together here.
Yeah, and the thing of it is that sometimes you just have to win these games. You have to get through ugly games sometimes. I just feel like that there's more ugly than not ugly anymore.
He says
some of these games.
We got a Matvei Mishkov sat, and we're being told to discuss. Did you watch him play that period?
It was not good, and not only that, I think he was sat, Bundy, and I could be wrong.
I know the play behind the net.
Yes,
right? yes, I know exactly what it was.
Yes, when he got his stick knocked out of his hands. And he went there and he was standing there complaining to the referee.
Right to him.
As the play was going up the ice.
Yeah, and he never picked the stick up and he went off the ice.
Didn't pick the stick up and went and slowly made it to the bench. And it was a little bit of a rush for the Blues. Now, granted, nothing happened. They didn't score because the Blues are just as inept in the offensive zone tonight as the Flyers have been for the most part. But I don't think Tortorella was happy with that play. I'm pretty certain that was the play that got him sat. It'll be interesting to see if he plays in the third period.
And you know what? And if that's the case, good for Torts.
Yeah.
That's one there where the player absolutely needs to sit down and say, here's what happens when you get a call against you that didn't go your way. You re-engage. You get your ass down the ice to try to help out defensively.
Correct.
And not anywhere do I ever want to see you arguing with a referee again on the ice over anything. You get back in the play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's fair, and I agree with it. I think that the coach, if he sat him for the rest of the period. It wasn't a whole long time, but it was, I don't know, 7 minutes, maybe 6-7 minutes there towards the end of the second period.
Yeah, let's be easy with this. Space exists in 7 dimensions. The rest are 3. Let's cool it down a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But let's see if what his role is in the third period and see how much that punishment goes forward. I'll be honest with you, Bundy. We had there's not a lot to talk about, but the one line that seems to actually have a little bit of energy tonight, and not just because they scored the goal, but is the fourth line. I mean, they seem to be putting some good shifts together when they're on the ice. They had another pretty good offensive shift where, again, didn't score, but they had some momentum in the zone. It was right after right after the penalty kill they had it. So, like, there's a few guys you could sit there and say, hey, you know what? Good on you. Good on you for playing through
They came
a game like this,
hard
right?
tonight. Yeah, they did.
I'm trying to find positives. I really am.
It's one of those games. Like St. Louis has been out on the road. The Flyers come back. They got another game on Saturday. Not that you ever pre-play or pre-plan what goes on for the next game, but this is just the way the game is going. And unless somebody runs somebody through the boards, it's very unlikely that both teams are going to wake up in the third period. The Flyers are going to be trying to lock this game down. St. Louis is going to try to push for some offense.
The Russ Joy Show is asking, is that Russ Joy? I hope that's fourth host Nancy running that account right now.
That'd be funny if it was.
That'd be great. Well, speaking of Russ, I think it's time for second period trivia.
Intern Russ trivia?
Intern Russ trivia. Do we have, usually he has some music for you that he sings in,
Yeah,
right?
he usually has some music that lasts, a really long time.
Yeah, which I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that either.
Okay.
So, Bundy, you did mention that I never ask any questions about before 2008.
Right.
How about this?
Okay.
I'll go all the way back to the beginning.
Okay.
The initial expansion, the Flyers and Blues were both part of that. How many was it? 6 teams?
6 teams, yeah.
6 teams in 1967, 1968. Well, coincidentally, the Flyers and the Blues met each other in the playoffs in the first round that inaugural season. Lost in Game 7. Who were the two starting goalies in Game 7?
Wow. Starting goalies of Game 7 in the first year for the Flyers.
I would have no idea.
Well, so Bernie was here.
You know this better
So
than me.
Bernie was here and left and came back. So was Bernie the Flyers goalie?
Yes.
Okay, so Bernie
wow.
was the Flyers goalie. And for St. Louis, I'm going to go Jacques Plante.
No.
That'd be a good guess. Famous goalie for the Blues?
I would assume
I
so.
mean, I haven't heard of him, but
But that doesn't mean anything.
that's entirely fair.
Terry Sawchuk.
No.
So you're sure it wasn't Jacques Plante, huh? Okay. That would have been my. I'm trying to think who else could have been on the Blues. Back
Plante was still around then, right? It was at, he was at
no,
the tail end.
Plante
Right?
was still playing then. Yeah. I don't know. Glenn Hall. Yes.
Really?
I got it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I never would have got that. I would
Wow.
have guessed all
That
that.
was just.
So
I pulled that one.
how about these for names? Here are the guys that scored, the 4 goal scorers.
Yeah.
Frank St. Marseille. Not familiar with him. The Flyers' 1 goal scorer was Bill Sutherland.
He was the first player. The great story about Bill Sutherland is I remember the first Flyers game at the Spectrum. The security wouldn't let him in because they didn't know who he was. They didn't know he was a player, and he had to go all the way
You couldn't even
around.
say Google me back then.
Yeah, he had to find he had to make a phone call from some office phone. They let him in the security room to call to say that he was there to let him in, and they finally had to come down. He couldn't get into the building the first Flyers game.
Larry Keenan scored to make it 2-1 St. Louis.
Yeah,
and then they iced it with an empty net goal in the third period. Get ready for this name, Red Berenson.
Red Berenson.
Oh yeah, former University of Michigan coach.
Oh, boo.
Here's another one though for you too, right? So that ended up what happened in that playoff that year was how the Philadelphia Flyers were formed. Essentially, the real building of the team.
The Plager brothers, right?
Yeah, because Ed Snyder said, never again. I'm never going to watch our team get brutalized like that again. So that became the birth, in a sense, of the Philadelphia Flyers because of the brutality of the St. Louis Blues and the Plager brothers, Barclay Plager, Bob Plager. They had a couple other guys, Battleship Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had some real meat on that team, and so the Flyers ended up building up their team because of that.
That's true. I think they played. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they played again in the following year in the playoffs as well.
Oh, look.
I'm pretty sure that they played a couple of times back in those early years before the Flyers won their first playoff series. First playoff series they won was in 72, I want to say. 72, 73. That was Dornhofer in overtime against Minnesota.
St. Louis actually swept them the following year.
Yeah. So there you go. There you go.
I'm impressed.
It's good. That was a good one.
1960s hockey trivia.
1960s hockey.
That's good. No, that's good, Andrew. And
That's
St.
good.
Louis were one of those teams. I mean, out of those 67, right? is amazing. There's still 2 teams out of that group that have not won a Stanley Cup.
I know.
Which is absolutely unbelievable when you think about it.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Concerned fan is here.
Concerned fan. He's not paying attention, so we're going to blow him.
He's watching it on YouTube, and there's a little bit of a delay. So he'll hear us in a second mention that he's here.
So if you want to bring him on, we could.
There you go.
We could, in theory, give him that 4th mic. He just wouldn't be on camera.
That's all right. He'll come over and talk with Bundy. It's fine. We'll put him on camera. Put him on camera. Concerned fan.
We want to ask him what he thinks. Okay, you got to talk into the mic, okay?
I love that Bundy's still giving. I love that Bundy's still giving Eric Flyers Eric instructions, as if we haven't done this before.
All right, what do you think of that period? What do you think of the period, Eric?
Too many hits. Post.
I love the fact that he still doesn't talk into the mic.
All right, I'm talking into the mic.
There you go. What were your thoughts on that period?
Thank God for our son. Thank God for the post, which is part of the goalie's equipment.
There were a couple of posts that period. That's right, early especially.
I think the Flyers have blocked like 300 shots in the past 2 games, so that's good.
I guess that's a positive. What's your level? The thing what we do with you is you're the concerned fan. What's your level of concern tonight?
1 to 10. Right now, it's a 5.
A 5. Okay, that's fair. I think they got a lead.
Yeah.
Are you
right?
enjoying this defensive system?
No answer.
It's always good. It's always good to do a shoulder shrug on a podcast. That translates very well, Eric. That translates very well. Are you hopeful here for the third? We'll wrap it up with this. Hopeful for the third period?
Yes.
Man of many words. Man of many words.
You asked him a yes or no question.
I did, but usually you expand on that. But as professionals, we know to talk a little bit more, right? But all right, well, good stuff, concerned fan, super fan Eric. Thank you thanks for checking in, and hopefully you're right. Hopefully they'll have a good third period and come away with a second win in a row.
All right, thanks guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
He's a loyal guy.
love it.
Thank you, concerned fan.
I love it.
All right, Bundy,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to be brutally honest with me. And if you're uncomfortable answering, that's okay.
Okay.
How important are the first 5 minutes of the third period?
Super, super important, especially even when you have the lead. The first 5 minutes becomes even more paramount because you do have the lead. You don't want the other team. So St. Louis is going to say to themselves, we only need 1 goal to get back in it. That's what their message is going to be through the locker room. If you're the Flyers, the message you have to send is, guys, we have to keep playing. We can't sit back and go into a shell and expect to win this hockey game. So if you're the Flyers, continue to try to push the pace. But I would like to see better job getting the puck stopped in the D zone and get it out in transition. And offensively, let's get some cycling going. Let's try to take advantage of St. Louis. Their defense is decent. Parayko's a good player, but other guys back there can be taken advantage of. And I don't think the Flyers players have done a good enough job exposing the St. Louis defense in this game.
Yeah, one thing we were talking about during the game, Bundy, it's a lot of just circling around behind the net, coming back the other way. Goes out of the zone, and then St. Louis does the same thing down your end, and there's just not a lot of creating happening and not a lot of puck support happening. It's just kind of...
Yep. A lot of one and dones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the Flyers need to get better. And I said, and you said before, Anthony, we were talking, there's some good stuff that's gone on defensively, but that's at the sacrifice of the offense.
Yeah.
So they're playing an inside-out style defensive game, limiting chances in the middle. It's been so far pretty successful. The trick, though, for the Flyers is to not get complacent in the way that they play defensive. Keep keeping things to the perimeter, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes here for the rest of the period. And, maybe they string together 2 straight wins, and you're starting to feel a little bit good because you get the Bruins coming back in on Saturday after you just shut them out the other night. The one thing I will say is Sam Erson's looked good. I mean, when the Blues have gotten shots on goal, he's been there. He had a really nice save on the Blues power play in that period.
Mm-hmm.
Flyers got a little loose in their own end defending, and they had a couple guys in front, and he made a nice save and then even gobbled up the rebound. So I think Urs has done well. You know what? Thanks to Brian, he brought back something that we haven't done yet this year. The expected goals. Expected goals, Bundy, through 2 periods. favors the Blues, 1.22 to 1.12.
Let's pack up the computers and get ready to head home. The game's over.
Well,
Numbers don't lie.
The numbers never lie. The numbers never.
You know
lie.
what? I can't stand stats like that. It's like, we used to have another line like that, but I can't use it on the family-friendly show. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah. So so they're leading in that. So they're actually going to have one of those feel-good stats next year where you get a point for outscoring them on
expected goals. You get a point
goal.
for winning the expected goals battle.
Yes.
Because he expected you to score. You might not have. Some bad luck. So, hey, by the way, Greg Mack, good point. I do like this Russ way better, too. You know why I like this Russ way better? It lets us talk.
Yeah, he doesn't try to dominate the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Russ, that show there reminds me, Russ's show, he's on alone, reminds me of that show with Robert De Niro and King in Casino. What was the name of that? What was his name in it?
Oh, yes. What was that called?
I got to get that now.
You're exactly right.
He was a casino boss, and then they made him like a host just to stay on the job.
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody's going to get it before we hang up here. I know that.
Oh, absolutely. Bundy, have you made it through? Be honest. Have you made it through one episode full, start to finish, of the Russ Joy Show?
I haven't watched the first second of it yet.
Is it Aces High?
Yeah, I think it is.
Fawcett, get it?
I think it is.
Ace
High.
yeah, but hold on. What was the guy's name? Ace.
Ventura.
It was Ace. It was definitely Ace.
Something like that.
Sam Ace Rothstein.
Right,
Ace
Sam
Rothstein.
Rothstein show. That's him. That's Russ. Sam Rothstein. Ace Rothstein.
Yeah. You haven't watched 1 second of it. There have been a couple times when I'm up in the morning and I'm getting ready to do my day job and I'm sitting over there and I having my bowl of cereal or my bagel and my coffee in the morning, and I turn on my computer and I get a notification that Russ is about to talk on the Russ Joy Show, and I turn it on, and I tune in, and then I always question my decision in life as to why I did that, because all he does is scream at me for the next 45 minutes.
He does do that.
But I don't want. I'm going to just rip Russ because it's his podcast, so I have to do it. It reminds me of that disaster of a show on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Remember that nightmare breakfast on Bob or whatever?
Breakfast on Broad. On Broad.
What a disaster of a show that was. Who was the clown who brought that show onto the thing?
I don't know who was responsible for it, but yeah, that was not the greatest show. That was not the best choice.
You had to be a complete knob to bring a show like that into this area. I think it was going to be. And you know the worst part? They brought that show on, and 2 days after they put it on, they said, "Yeah, this thing won't last a year."
Yeah, it really did. It really did. I just got this to say to you, Landros. You like the Russ Joy Show because it's angry, Russ. When I tell you that anger is not real, it's not real.
Oh, we're back.
Go. Game's back on. We got to go.
Oh, yes. My mustache has gotten bigger finally. This is the last mustache
Got
of
a
the
big
night,
win. Big
thankfully.
win by the Flyers.
Big win thanks in part to my guy, Bobby Brink.
Bobby Brink.
The power of the handshake.
What a beautiful play that was. He ended up was a give and go over to Farabee. Farabee back to Brink. See everybody. Good win. Have a safe ride home. It's past trick-or-treating, so don't go out and try to get adult candies.
Bundy, I will say I was impressed with the Flyers' effort in that period, simply because we knew coming into the third, in a 1-0 game, the next goal was going to be huge, and St. Louis was the one that got it. They tied it at 1 about halfway through that period, and the Flyers responded, and they got the win with they scored with like 3 minutes left? Something about that? They scored
with just under 3, I think, to go, and that was a beautiful goal. Really, really well played. And again, you know what it was? It was a guy going to the front of the net. And the puck, there was traffic to the front of the net. The Flyers had so many one-and-dones tonight. And the shots on goal, I think like it was a final of 21-21. Am I mistaken by saying that?
21 all.
21 all. It was not a lot going on in this hockey game, guys. I mean, there really wasn't. It was a slow-paced, feel-out type of hockey game. And it wasn't like for some of the periods, it was not an enjoyable game to watch. As most people that came up here, I think, felt the same way. It felt like almost like a men's league game at times. And it did. And everyone that came up here said the same thing. We didn't say it. They said it first. But and some nights that's going to happen. It is. It's not that the players design it that way. It's just the way the trajectory in the game goes. You ever see a night where someone wins a game like 9-8? It's like you can't stop. You can't stop it once it starts going downhill. One goal after another and score at will. Kind of the same thing here today, except nobody could score. And there just wasn't a whole lot of offense to boot.
So after St. Louis scored to tie it in the third period, did you see like a noticeable like hiccup in action from the Flyers in that period?
No. I don't think anybody really had a momentum like any time in the game. I think the Flyers, when they got scored on, they kept playing, which was good. They didn't it didn't defeat them. There's times earlier in the year where they might have been scored on and someone said, what do you think? Where is the mentality of this team? And they would have gone south. But at least tonight when they got scored on, it didn't bother them. They just kept playing hockey. And as a result, they made one good play to the net. And they got a reward, just a nice give and go, quick play to the net. Bennington couldn't make the stop. And your buddy Bobby Brink ended up finishing it.
He is my buddy. So I'll ask you this. I asked Ant this during the third period. I think that a concern that we had coming into this season was trying to not overload the workload of Sam Ersson. I think that kind of happened to him at the end of last year. But now when you see him appearing to be as locked in as he is, do you start him again for a third straight game on Saturday against Boston?
Yes.
I think I would too.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, he just beat him. He shut him out. He gave up one goal tonight. You ride the wave. Give him a rest tomorrow if he needs it, but you get him ready. Tell him, you know what, we need you at 1 o'clock Saturday. Get yourself ready to go because you're going to need a big effort from your goaltender in that game because Boston looks like they're getting thumped again here tonight. And they didn't get thumped by the Flyers. They were down 6-2 to Carolina. That's a thumping for a team that, to be quite honest with you, thinks that they're probably far better than the start of the season has presented to them and their fan base.
You would have to think, right?
Well, for sure. I mean, they just lost to the Flyers. They hadn't lost them in a while. They've had a very disjointed start to the year.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm going to be honest. Was it a 6-2?
It's 7-2 Carolina.
7-2 Carolina. And so that tells you. Hear that, Anthony? 7-2 Carolina. Like, we're just talking about Boston. Boston doesn't look like, the same crew that we've seen before. And I think they almost felt like they took a step backwards the other day, but they've had a very, very rough start to the year after having a decent right out of the gate.
Yeah. I mean, look, Carolina's a good team, right? So, it shouldn't surprise you that Carolina's winning that game, but this is not the same Boston Bruins team from the past few years. So they've kind of come back to the pack a little bit. That's not trying to take anything away from the game that the Flyers played against them defensively the other night. I think the Flyers played well. Like, I thought it was their best team game of the season. Again, low scoring tonight, but Bundy, once again, look, we saw it work for a while last year, early in the season, and we kept saying, this isn't sustainable. This isn't sustainable. And ultimately it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Right? Ultimately it wasn't sustainable. They blocked 28 shots on Tuesday. They blocked 24 more shots tonight. They're playing that defensive style that you see in March and April in October again. And I think that's, John Tortorella's way of trying to get this team to get wins, which is what a coach's job is to do, right? But there's just still not enough we're not seeing anything in the other end. I mean, but that's a nice play by Bobby Brink on a give and go at Farabee to get the game-winning goal. All credit to both players. It was a really nice play.
But you want to see that repeatedly in a game.
That's it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got one chance like that, right? Like, other than that, their chances were not high danger by any stretch of the imagination.
And that's the point, right? If you can find a way to get pucks in net, you can get some traffic, you can make a good play and try to get. But that was really like one chance. I mean, they had one good quality chance, and it ended up counting. I mean, you could show the guys that video all day. I mean, that's as good a play as you're going to find tonight in the NHL. I mean, a nice give and go from the middle to the outside. You usually see pass from the outside to the middle, right? And you did see it, but you saw Brink actually have the patience to move the puck over to his left, used his a right shot, and then Farabee right back to him again as he drove past Ryan Suter, who is clearly on his last leg. I mean, I'm sorry. I was there. I've been there, done that. I was on a last leg, too. It's an ugly feeling and an awful feeling being there.
Yeah, it's a shame. That's a shame because he was such a really good player.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's and good for Bobby Brink, because here's a kid who was out of the lineup for a few games, didn't have that great of a start to the season. I thought he was good his first couple games, and then it got really bad after that. And then, he gets back into the lineup, and to get a big goal like that to win the game for the team, considering he was just recently in Chateau Bow Wow. That's good for him. Maybe it's a confidence boost, and he, can take it and run with it from there.
I mean, don't forget, he was a lot of people's pick this year to be kind of a breakout guy, right?
Yeah.
And so, we'll see. Hopefully he learned from it.
That's who Coots told us. Remember when we talked to Coots? Coots said he thought Bobby Brink was a guy who had a chance to be a big breakout this year. And obviously we haven't really seen it yet. But that's pretty good. Bundy, there was a question that somebody asked at the end of the last period that I thought was kind of interesting. And I don't necessarily know if I have the answer to this, but I'm curious to see what your answer would be. Somebody asked in the and I don't remember who it was, but somebody asked in the comments right at the end of the period, since you retired, who has been the closest Flyers defenseman to play the way you played?
I'll say that. Actually, I have an answer for that. Braden Coburn.
Okay, that's the guy. That was the one name I was thinking that was probably it.
Yeah. We both skated the same.
Yeah.
Defended very similar. He played with the luxury of being able to play with a top pair guy
like Chemo.
Yeah. So I would say Coburn. Yeah.
I think that's probably a good answer. That's a good one. Yeah, that was a good question. I was like, you know what? I was thinking about it, and Coburn was the one that came to mind. But I wasn't sure if you would have felt the same way.
We had good teams. I mean, I don't like to compare like different pairs. I mean, over our 10 years, I think I was like plus 100 and something.
Yeah.
And I don't know like. But that's a fair answer.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And it's funny because when you think about it, like, you made your bones about playing against Jágr, and he made his bones playing against Malkin.
He did.
Right?
Yeah.
Like in a very similar way.
I think Jágr was more like I felt like I don't remember anyone ever saying like Coburn and Malkin. Well, I got a lot of like Bundy against Jágr because it was like him in his heyday with the mullet.
Yeah.
And I remember it just like came out of the blue.
Well, so the Coburn Malkin thing actually was started in World Junior.
Oh, okay.
When Coburn was playing for Team Canada.
Yeah.
And was asked to play against Malkin for Russia. And so then, of course, Coburn ends up with the Flyers. I mean, obviously he started with Atlanta, but ends up with the Flyers.
Never played there, though, did he, really, with Atlanta? Did he?
Very briefly. Yeah, briefly played with the Thrashers.
I mean, remember who they gave away to get him?
Wasn't that the Russian?
Zhitnik.
Yeah, the Russian defenseman. Yeah, I couldn't remember which one it was, but it was Zhitnik. And they got Coburn with what was a great trade. That was a hell of a trade by Holmgren. Because Coburn ended up being a staple on the blue line for a long time.
He did.
And it ended up, Malkin ends up with the Penguins, and so you end up seeing Coburn against Malkin a lot again after they played in World Junior. So that's good. It was good. It was a good little answer to do that. Hey, Russ, do we have any final comments from you?
When I take this off, it's hard to breathe in this.
Yeah, and why did you move it up, dude? That thing is in your nostrils now. It was down over your lip before. Now it looked like the thing is like growing out of your nose.
I would have been impressed if, like, each period. This was a great costume, and you did phenomenal. Yet again, you hit it out of the park. You didn't do the poetry tonight, but you just absolutely embodied Russ Joy. So I give you a lot of credit for it. But what would have been funny is if you had like a different version of Russ each period.
I didn't even think of that, actually.
Russ is still trick-or-treating right now for himself.
But, he was about to say the kids went to bed.
Russ is dressed in an R2-D2 outfit.
No, I thought he's like he's an Ewok.
Yeah, Ewok, same thing. Hey, trick or treat. Oh, here you go, little guy.
Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic. But no, that's good work yet again out of you.
Thank you.
You came through again, intern Andrew.
I did my best, I'm happy that you hopped back on when you did. I was starting to run out of gas. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, you're not cut out for this? You're not cut out for this conversation thing?
I said, it's different. If it was like Eagles post game, I think I'd be better at it because I actually played football for a long time. I've never played hockey, so I love watching it.
Yeah.
I just don't know the X's and O's of it. Like they all.
Are you learning?
They all look the same to me.
All you have to do is listen to Bundy.
I guess I could, but
or just listen to Bundy, and then you can say, just repeat what he says, and you'll be a genius.
When I broadcast, I don't know. I still don't have a job, but I used to say to people, "How do you broadcast?" When I feel like I pretend I'm sitting in a bar next to two people that have never watched a game before, and I pretend that I'm calling the game for them.
Until you make it.
I'll be honest with you, Bundy. There have been a number of things that I've included in stories I've written, just sitting here listening to you talk about the game.
Oh,
because in all honesty, I've been around the game for 20 years now as a writer, and I can write a hockey story in my sleep. But the reality of it is that sometimes even now, 20 years later, 25 years later, I sit there and sit here with you, and you see something, and I go, you know what? I wouldn't have seen that if Bundy didn't point that out.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us learn a lot of each other too, because other guys see things. Sometimes you guys see things where you'll notice somebody's not on the ice.
Yeah,
that is the one thing with me. If somebody got hurt or benched, I don't see that.
Right.
It's amazing. I only see what's going on the ice and who's out there. And some like our fans here, they're unbelievable.
Yeah, they're great
with telling us that. So I really truly do appreciate you, Luke Richardson. I asking about Luke Richardson's story. I mean, he was just the greatest guy. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better teammate than Luke Richardson. Just loved him. That's why somebody put it here. So
yeah.
I have a million Luke Richardson stories. I just don't have enough time to talk.
Are they family friendly?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any story I have is usually family friendly, and if it's not, well, I'll make it family friendly.
You find a way. You find a way to make it family friendly. Well, I think that's probably where we should wrap this one up.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
If Russ was in charge, we would have another 55 minutes to go.
He's got to stop a little bit. Like, I don't know what that is with that. It's a little creepy.
He just likes to listen to himself talk.
Sam Ross can you believe we actually said it? We had a double Rothstein at the second.
Yes, we did.
We had Sam Ace Rothstein and we had Eric, of course, the concerned fan Rothstein.
Yes, we did. That was kind of interesting that we did that.
Realized that afterwards.
Yeah, but it's like it's his own fuel, right? Russ's fuel is hearing his own voice. It's like he keeps gassing himself up.
I really strive to have that kind of self-confidence. That's my goal.
Keep hanging around him, you'll get there.
See, like this is how you know when it's time to wrap it, right? We had some music playing in the background. There were still some fans getting out. Like, everybody was excited. Flyers win the game. Okay, fine. There's now nobody left in the building.
Right.
There's no more noise behind us.
Mike's gone.
Right.
Organ player.
When the organ player Mike disappears, it's like, okay, we've talked long enough.
Right. It was 3 goals.
So, Sunday, he wanted to break down every player that played in the game.
It was ridiculous. I kept trying to go.
One.
I was like, Russ.
One night I'm just going to get up. I'm just going to leave. Right. You know that. It's coming.
Right in the middle of it.
Right in the middle of it.
As only you can do.
That's great. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
We will be back on Saturday here for the Press Row Show for Flyers Bruins. That's an afternoon game, 1:00 start that day. You know what they're doing before the game, Bundy, that day? And this, I think, is a kind of a cool thing. They're dedicating the press box, or renaming it.
Oh, after
Jay Greenberg, Hall of Fame journalist who died last year. Year and a half ago. Yeah. But they're renaming the press box here at the Wells Fargo Center after Jay Greenberg. They're bringing his family in. There's going to be like a pregame ceremony, like 11 o'clock Saturday morning. So I'll be here early for that.
It's a big day for me too. Bunny, do you have a prediction for Penn State, Ohio State?
Penn State will win it this year.
You think so?
I agree.
I don't.
Yeah, Penn State will get them this year.
No, I don't. I don't trust James Franklin a little bit as a coach.
I have to say Penn State because my daughter's fiance is a Penn State 4-year starter there. He's injured now with the Colts, but I can't say Ohio State. Are you kidding me? He's 6'7", 350.
Yeah. You don't want Will coming after you. I get it.
It's like, you, Mr. T, you picking Ohio State on me? No, I'm not, kid. No, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a fun one. You have to be here for that too.
I was just about to say I'm going to bring the iPad. I'm gonna have.
I'm sure they'll have it on the big screen.
Yeah,
over
but
there.
like
there's only
when-
10 TVs there.
Yeah.
No, I know, but like when we're like actually on, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, well, what's
there.
what's going to happen. Like it'll be ready to come back on, and we'll be like, "Where's intern Andrew?" And you'll be like standing over there like a little kid, staring up at the TV screen, like watching his football. We'll have to yell at him.
We'll have the Penn State game on up here. Come up to the balcony, say hi to us any game.
Yeah,
If you can get up, tell them that you're coming up to see Snow the goalie.
yeah, you got to come up the elevator 121, 122. It's the only elevator they will let you up to come see us. If you try to come up one of the other elevators, they won't let you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 121, 122. You come up. And yes, Landros, people have been asking me about this. I have to miss the Torts presser if I have to be on the post game. There's no Russ here today.
Just give us time, guys. We'll be back.
We're
We're going to
there.
get Anthony down there. Don't worry. But
Yes.
and just to tell everybody, Anthony's had to do the Associated Press 3 or 4 times.
I've now kind of become their AP
And
guy.
And at the beginning, he was also doing baseball when we started. So let's just keep that in mind. That's why we've not been down the Torts. Anthony, I can assure you, if having worked with him a long time now,
He'll be back down there.
He's not afraid at all going back downstairs.
No, absolutely
He'll
not.
be there.
We'll get back down there. So hopefully maybe Saturday we'll be able to head back down.
Yeah,
so
great.
During the off season, I actually bought a new tripod in preparation, and we still haven't gone downstairs yet.
It would have been fun to bring you down there dressed as Russ today.
That would have been something.
That would have been fun. Anyway, maybe you could dress like Russ again on Saturday.
I think once is enough.
Once was enough.
We don't
Okay.
want to overkill.
All right. So for intern Andrew filling in as Russ Joy today, and Chris Bundy, Therien, I'm Anthony SanFilippo saying thanks for tuning in to the Press Row Show, and we will see you on Saturday.